You ever wonder if there are lost worlds hidden right under our noses? I'm not talking about some remote jungle, but a place a lot of us see pretty much every day. Well, today, we're going to uncover one of those places, an ancient landscape that was literally swallowed by the sea. Okay, let's dive right in. Just try to picture this. Where you now have all that open water between Britain and the rest of Europe, there used to be a huge, thriving landmass. A whole world, just teeming with life. So the big question is, what happened to it? And maybe more importantly, what was it really like? For decades, scientists had one idea, but some new technology has just completely rewritten the story. This lost world has a name, Doggerland. For years, we thought we kind of knew its secrets, but it turns out our understanding was, well, let's just say it was way off. So, let's start with what we used to think. For the longest time, the scientific community had this very specific and honestly kind of boring view of Doggerland. Basically, the old thinking was that Doggerland was really nothing more than a land bridge, a cold, empty route for early humans and animals to migrate into Britain after the Ice Age. It was just a pathway, not a place you'd ever want to live. But that entire picture, yeah, it's just been completely shattered, and it's all thanks to a groundbreaking new way of looking into the past. This changes everything. The key to this whole discovery is this incredible technology. Scientists can now literally pull up cores of sediment from the seabed and extract these tiny, microscopic DNA fragments left behind by ancient plants and animals. It's basically a genetic time machine, for real. So here's what they did. Researchers took over 250 samples from the mud on the floor of the North Sea, and from that mud, they pulled out ancient DNA, piecing together this incredibly detailed picture of what this lost world looked like year by year as the ice pulled back. And what that DNA revealed, wow, it just proves how totally wrong that old land bridge theory was. This wasn't some barren wasteland. It was more like a prehistoric paradise, something way more incredible than we ever imagined. Okay, so the first shocker was the timeline. The DNA showed that complex forests were already growing all across Doggerland 16,000 years ago. I mean, that's thousands of years earlier than anyone thought was even possible for that part of the world. So this wasn't some cold tundra, no, this was a lush, temperate world. The DNA painted this vivid picture of oak, elm, and hazel forests. It was actually warmer than Britain was at the time. So much warmer, in fact, that they found lime trees there 2,000 years before they ever showed up on the mainland. It was just a perfect habitat for animals like boars. But as amazing as all that was, the science team found something else in the DNA. Something that, by all accounts, just shouldn't have been there. They found the genetic ghost of a tree that was believed to have been extinct in that region for 400,000 years. Yeah, just let that sink in for a second. For almost 500,000 years, scientists were sure this tree was gone from northwestern Europe. And yet, there it was. The DNA of Pterocarya, it's a relative of the walnut tree, was perfectly preserved in the mud of Doggerland. This proved it had survived there for hundreds of thousands of years, longer than anyone had a clue. So look, this is a really big deal, and it's not just about finding some ancient trees. This discovery fundamentally changes how we understand post-Ice Age Europe. Forget the idea of a simple bridge people just crossed over. Doggerland was a heartland. It wasn't just a route, it was a destination, a vast, rich landscape that served as this critical refuge for plants, animals, and almost certainly for people. I mean, listen to how co-author Professor Vincent Gaffney puts it. He says, this new evidence confirms Doggerland was a vital center of life, a place where species could survive the cold and then expand out from later. And get this actually helps solve a really old scientific mystery called Reed's paradox. The puzzle was basically this. How in the world did forests spread across Europe so unbelievably fast after the glaciers retreated? The seeds just couldn't have traveled that quickly from way down south. Well, the answer seems to be that they didn't have to travel far at all. Doggerland was likely acting as a massive micro-refugia, a giant protected pocket of life where entire forests basically weathered the cold. So when the climate warmed up, these forests were in the perfect position to spread out across Britain and Northern Europe. And for human history, oh, this changes everything. It means there was this rich, wooded environment that could have easily supported hunter-gatherer communities. This is during an era we call the Mesolithic, long before we see much proof of them in Britain. The reason we find so little early evidence on the mainland might just be because the real heartland of settlement is now underwater, a place where people lived for thousands of years before the final floods claimed it. So it leaves you with this final, really fascinating question. I mean, if a world as huge and important as Doggerland could stay so misunderstood for so long, right on Europe's doorstep, how many other lost worlds are still out there, just beneath the waves, waiting for us to unlock their secrets?